ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone in between and adjacent, welcome to the Rush Rundown, what I believe is the first and only 10-minute testing ripoff for Rush Duels. Today on the Rush Rundown, we finish our coverage on this format's big three. Yes, we've gone over spellcasters, we've gone over Light Galaxy, but let's take a look at the biggest aggro powerhouse in the current format. Yes, that's right. Today, I would like to present to you VOIDVELG Fusion Draw. This is the part of the video where I tell you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. That's right, today we're taking a look at the brand new Dark Galaxy cards. This new version of Dark Galaxy is really interesting. It changes what was previously a very high roll gamble style deck into a streamlined, fast aggro. Yeah, before it was already pretty aggro, but this is aggro at a different level. You can kind of tell that by seeing the lack of traps in the deck before you. You might be saying, wait, hold on a second. Traps are very important to Rush Duel. Like, it's the only way we're staying alive on the opponent's turn is if we have traps. Well, Dark Galaxy set forgoes all traps to just be as monster and spell heavy as possible, because we're just looking to resolve our effects and go face. This deck also introduces a very cool strategy. You might remember the Blaster's Inferno deck I featured on the channel a while ago. That was running around on rank and was basically carried by the effect to just wipe all the monsters on the board. Well, this deck plays something similar. One of the other aspects of this deck is it revolves around this card, the Dark Hole Device. Since this is a pretty important part of the deck, let's read this before we hop into our skill. This card's name becomes Dark Hole while in the graveyard. Requirement: you have face-up Dark Attribute Galaxy type fusion monster in your field, and or you send 3 Dark Attribute Galaxy type monsters from your hand to the graveyard. Destroy all monsters on the field, then you can add 1 Galaxy type monster from your graveyard to your hand. So it's not exactly Dark Hole, it's very noticeably different. It wipes the entire board as long as you fulfill the requirement, and then adds you back a Galaxy guy, with the similarity to the Blaster's Inferno deck being the Dragonic Resonance that deck played would wipe the entire board, then special a dragon from graveyard. This just adds any Galaxy. So a lot of what this deck revolves around is either throwing out big dudes and being very aggro, or using this Dark Hole device to wipe the board. So that's the first aspect of the deck covered. Let's talk about how it all comes together with our skill. Our skill is VOIDVELG Fusion Draw. Can be activated in turn 2 onward at low monster constructed deck or Galaxy type monsters. Send up to 2 cards, level 8 Dark Attribute Monster, Dark Hole Device, and or Fusion from your hand to the graveyard, then draw the same number of cards. If you send VOIDVELG Requiem to the graveyard by this effect, you can also send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard once per duel. So basically, you send any of your level 8 guys, or you send your Dark Hole Device, or you send your Fusion, and just draw equal to the number you sent, which is a max of 2, so it's basically like the skill's pot of greed, similar to the way the Light Galaxy skill functions. However, where it differs, this skill doesn't add any random cards from outside your deck. No, the bonus effect is instead, if you send Requiem, you also gain the similar milling effect that the previous Dark Galaxy skill gives you. Now, we have a whole bunch of new cards to go over, so let's start the card by card here in our extra deck and just go over our big bosses and tools. So first up, we have this guy, VOIDVELG Theogonia. Level 9, 3k. Requirements are VOIDVELG Chrysor and Dark Prophet. 2 new guys we will be covering in the main deck. And during your main phase that you special summon this card, special summon 1 level 8 Galaxy type monster from your graveyard face to your field. The monster special summon effect cannot be destroyed by card effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. So, Theogonia requires this VOIDVELG Chrysor, who is a new level 8 boss monster for our deck. He's fused using that guy's material, can reborn him, make him immune to destruction, and wait a second, we have a Dark Galaxy Fusion on the field, and we have an indestructible level 8 monster. We activate Dark Hole Device, wipe the board. Oh wait, our level 8 boss monster, he stays alive. So this is what I was talking about before with the way the deck plays around Dark Hole Device, where we're looking to resolve it. We're in a position where our guys, like I said, will either live, or we just put bigger beaters after they die. Next up, we have VOIDVELG Protostar. It's kind of it kind of mirrors the Light Galaxy ship, right? The effect is very different. but design-wise and concept-wise, I believe they share similarity. Level 9, 24, 28. VOIDVELG Globule and Dark Prophet. Dark Prophet again, new card. Globule, very important card that you should probably already be familiar with. No requirements, pretty cool. Add 1 level 4 or lower Dark Galaxy type monster in your graveyard hand, and if you have Dark Hole in your graveyard, you can also choose 1 level 8 monster in your graveyard and special summon it up to your field. So this card's crazy. This card's really cool. Basically, if you have the Dark Hole device, which is Dark Hole in graveyard, you can summon the Protostar, and then Protostar can add you a level 4 such as Hail Rider, and then special level 8 such as Requiem, and then you have the 2500 Requiem who's about to boost himself, the 1600 Pale Rider, and this 2400 Protostar, which for all intents and purposes, if you're summoning all these guys after resolving a Dark Hole device, is probably just OTK. So this is another thing I'm talking about where we play around Dark Hole device, where we're wiping the board and then building a crazier OTK board behind it. Next up, we have VOIDVELG Apocalypse, level 9, 25 2k. Requirements: Pale Rider and Dark Prophet again. In case you can't tell, this Dark Prophet card we haven't gone over yet is very important for this deck. Similar card from your hand to the graveyard. This turn, this card gains 1000 deck and cannot be destroyed by card effects. If you activate this effect during your main phase that you special summon this card, you can add 1 Dark Hole from your graveyard to your hand. I do believe this guy is telling you exactly what play you should make. You should make Apocalypse, add the Dark Hole device you probably pitched off your skill to draw cards, and then just wipe the opponent's board and leave this now 3500 Apocalypse chilling pretty easily on the field. Last but not least, we have VOIDVELG Gigantomachia, level 9, 3400 attack, 2500 defense. Requirements are Requiem and Chrysor, which is, of course, our 2 level 8 bosses. So this guy's gotta be insane. Send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. Destroy 1 spell trap card on field. Also, this card gains 500 attack and can attack twice this turn. Okay, so Gigantomachia is one of the hardest cards to summon in this entire deck, and he's just fine. He's MST on legs, who then becomes Dragios. But if you're at the point where you're able to summon Gigantomachia, half the time you are pretty much just winning the game anyway. And yeah, maybe destroying that last spell trap's pretty important. Other times, though, you don't really need to. Funnily enough, we don't have much spell trap destruction in the deck outside this one guy. Now for our main deck. We're on 3 VOIDVELG Requiem. Of course, we want to have max copies for the sake of our skill, and as well, because honestly, he's just a very good aggressive beater. We're on 3 VOIDVELG Cataphract. Very important to be pulling our tools out of the graveyard if they've been milled or tributed or pitched to activate our skill. Another reason why we're playing just monsters and spells is because you really do not want to be hitting traps off Cataphract. Now we have our brand new card, the VOIDVELG Chrysor. Mentioned him a couple times as material for these fusions. He is also a limit 3, which is pretty interesting. So he's level 8, 25 2k. Requirement: your opponent has 2 or more monsters in the field. Send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. If a Dark Attribute Galaxy type monster is among the cards, this turn this card can attack up to the number of Dark Attribute Galaxy type monsters you sent to the graveyard. If 3 Dark Attribute Galaxy type monsters with the same level were sent to the graveyard by this effect, you can also destroy all face-up level 8 or lower monsters in your opponent's side of the field. Okay, that last effect is probably never going to happen, but oh my god, if it did, that'd be insane. So, another reason we're not playing any trap cards is we want to hit as many monsters off the effective Chrysor as possible so he can swing 3 times. That's the best of all worlds. Usually we're only going to be getting 2 attacks. Sometimes we are playing a decent number of spells, or we might not be activating that effect at all because he's just going to become fusion material. But Chrysor on his own is a really strong, really powerful card, and if you're not doing fusion plays, just going beat down with Chrysor is pretty good. Now, we're on 3 VOIDVELG Globule. We really need to put cards back sometime, which is what Globule is really good for. He does also make one of the best fusions in the deck, and really enable our fusion plays with the level 8s by just being 2 tributes for them. Following that, we're playing 3 Dark Prophet. This is a brand new guy. He's a level 1 0/0. Not very strong of a card. Must have a crazy effect. During the turn, you normal summon this card, shuffle 3 Dark Attribute Galaxy type monsters from your graveyard into the deck, add 1 fusion from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, he's crazy. So not only does he put cards back so you don't deck yourself out, but he's also adding your fusions to hand. So you can do plays like, I don't know, pitch 2 cards off Fusion draw, you know, maybe pitch a Fusion, pitch a Requiem, mill 3 cards off the VOIDVELG Fusion draw, activate Dark Prophet, put 3 of those cards back, add the Fusion, normal summon, I don't know, Tail Rider, anything, and make one of your big Fusion bosses that require Prophet as material. So Prophet is a very, very, very important card for this deck, and you want to see him as much as possible. Which is why we move on to our next card, the Meteor Larva. Level 1, 600 attack, 0 defense. No requirement. Send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of face-up Dark Activate monsters on your field. So this is the main way we're going to be milling a bunch of cards, is this Meteor Larva. So we're looking to mill as many cards as possible, hopefully hitting something like a Dark Prophet, and then we will, skipping ahead a little bit, use Void Corridor to add that Dark Prophet back, or add one of our other tools back to our hand to then pop off. So a lot of what this deck does is it basically tuned the main deck, kind of functioning the way the skills let the other versions of Dark Galaxy function, and then, yeah, plussing even more by going for a giant fusion. So we're on 3 VOIDVELG Pale Rider. Surprisingly, this is our only normal in the deck. Nothing about the deck requires any normals, unlike the other Dark Galaxy deck. Legend spell of choice is the Pot of Greed. Draw 2 cards, broken. It's so broken that's our skill. Of course, we're on the 2 Dark Hole Device. Noted, this is a limit 2 card. We're on 3 Void Corridor. Like I mentioned when talking about Meteor Larva, we really need to get the right tools out of our graveyard. So we just play Void Corridor to hopefully mill them and then add them back with the Corridor. And to round it up, we are on 3 Fusion because we really need to see Fusion. And hey, if we see Fusion when we don't need it, well, Fusion Draw just pitches it in any way to draw cards. So that was pretty long because we had a whole bunch of new cards to talk about. Hopefully I can get this down under 10 minutes in the editing. But let's check out some games and see how the deck plays. All right, here we are, game number 1, and our opponent is on Master Excel Road. Ooh, wow. Well, you can see we are going first, and we opened a pretty poor hand. Seeing a bunch of spell cards in the deck where we want to see monsters really kind of sucks. So let's go ahead and draw return, see what we hit. Ooh, that VOIDVELG Prophet could change a lot. So we're going to normal summon Pale Rider just so we have something to stave off some damage and set every one of our cards, passing the turn. So hopefully we can survive this game. The opponent responds by setting their entire hand, which is also pretty good for us because that means we got to keep all these tools. We have all these spells. Oh my god, drawing for turn. Oh, drawing for turn. Pale Rider, Pot of Greed, Fusion, Cataphract, Larva. This is insane. So we're going to have normal Larva, activate Larva effect, hitting Requiem, Globule off the top. Let's go ahead and add the Requiem, and we have phase to activate Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards. Let's go ahead and activate our skill. We didn't get very good cards, but we go ahead and use Fusion Draw, hitching the Requiem, milling more cards. Oh my god, there's so much happening. So now we're fusing into the VOIDVELG Apocalypse. Wait, we did hit a Dark Hole Device. This is crazy. VOIDVELG Apocalypse can't be destroyed. It goes 35. Activating Dark Hole Device, wiping the opponent's board. You can see now that they are in fact playing the Master Excel Road. All right, let's go ahead and normal summon Prophet. Shuffle them back a whole bunch of cards. We're going to add back that Fusion to Fusion once again. Normal summoning the Cataphract because we do kind of want to play around that last. Okay. Yep. So the opponent sees the right on wall. We were just going to do pop that last back row as soon as we possibly could. And they scoop. This was a very familiar sight when trying to play this deck. You would finally find the big cool pop-off combos so you could, you know, in my case, feature it in the video like this, but then the opponent scoop before you can actually do it. It reminds me of when I was trying to film for the Light Galaxy deck and the opponents kept scooping before I could punch them in the face with Eternal Galactic Oblivion. Oh well, maybe the next game we'll get it. Okay, here we are, game number 2, and our opponent is playing Dragons. Not really sure which dragon variant this was off the top of my head, but it's dragons all the same. A big sight for sore eyes. You can see we're going first again with a deck that's skills offline when it goes first, and our hand is kind of bad. We have a 2 tribute, 2 spells, and a globule. Hopefully the card off the top does it. You draw for turn, and hey, it's another 2 tribute monster. Okay, well, hopefully setting 3 cards and passing lets us live till next turn where we can at least pitch these for our skill. They go ahead and normal summon the dragon, revealing it is the Dragias Miragias deck. Tributing 2 for, oh my god, there's Dragias, there he is. Activate Dragias effect so we can hit twice, Dragias turn over, boosting him up. They did mill writing, which is pretty nice, so we don't have to worry about that for next turn. And then also, they didn't play any of the monsters. Oh, okay, no monsters, no spell traps, cool. So not only do we live, well, let's hopefully draw something good here. So we can see we got Pale Rider Worm and Globule, and oh, pitch the two guys, activate our skill, draw cards, we get Prophet and Cataphract. This is insane. Activate Lover effect, we hit 2 Cataphracts and Requiem. Go again and hit Corridor. Okay, activate Corridor, add Chrysor. Normal summon the Chrysor. Oh my god, so much is happening. Activate the fusion, we're gonna fuse off for the Theogonia. Popping off here, Theogonia effect, summoning back Requiem. And hey, why don't we also normal summon that last Pale Rider? Requiem effect, boosting him up to 4k, swinging in, hitting him for 15, hitting him for 3k, and hitting him for 16, which is 100 over lethal. Very quick banger of a game. Maybe our third opponent can put up a little bit more of a fight. Here we are, game number 3, and you know what that means. A 1v1 versus Master Excel Road. Of course, we did play that first game against them, but hey, it's always got to be the third game too until there's a new, most represented meta deck. You can see we are once again going first with our skill that really wants to go second, but at least this time we open Pot of Greed, Meteor Larva, and 2 Globules, so we can actually set cards this turn. So let's go ahead and draw as well. We draw another Meteor Larva. Let's go Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards, and thankfully they're 2 back row. Just going to set everything here and pass turn. All right, our opponent goes first. Our opponent goes next. They actually go Cyclone right off the top, drawing a card, activating Master Excel Road, revealing Witch, adding Magician. Oh my god, it feels like we're just going to lose. Adding Fusion as well. Can't forget that. Pitching the Witch, which is pretty interesting. Going ahead and normal summon Strange Witch. Oh, no longer interesting. Now they have a crazy, scary play. Pitching Mystic Dealer off Witch effect to summon the 7th Road. They're not getting any kind of response out of us because this is a spell card, so they can just do whatever they want for free. Summon out the Charmy Witch. Charmy Witch, flip a guy. Hey, at least it's a guy with a attack stat, huh? Go 7th Road Magician. Talismanic Seal Wraith, and I'm at this point when I was playing this game, I'm like, buddy, please read your cards. He's level 1. Alright, so they're going to lower down that level 1 monster down to 400 attack. Alright, punching me for 26. Piercing over the Globule for 15. And ooh, is that a Globule that stayed live on field? Don't mind if I do. Drawing for turn, we hit Requiem, Double Fusion, Cataphract, drawing 2 off our skill. Globule and Prophet to hand, Cataphract effect, hitting Chrysor. Oh, we are popping off. Thankfully, the opponent doesn't have any back row here, so we're going to go ahead Larva, mill some more cards. Ooh, we hit double Dark Hole Device and Requiem. Let's put some cards back. Now this guy's 2 tributes, but we're tributing them both off anyway because we need the field space. Alright, Chrysor effect, milling some more cards. Normal summoning Prophet, let's go. Shuffling some cards back. Gonna add ourselves a fusion. Go ahead and activate that fusion. Summoning up the VOIDVELG Theogonia. Now we go Void Corridor, adding a Chrysor back, normal summoning, and then once again tribute summoning another Chrysor. Oh, this is a lot happening. Alright, Theogonia effect, summoning out Requiem. Ooh, wait a minute, they got 2 monsters in their field, don't they? Chrysor effect, milling 3, ooh, 3 Dark Galaxies, you know what that means. Requiem effect goes to 34, punch them for 2, punch them for 400, punch them to direct for 25, and then 34 for game. Listen, we didn't need the board wipe. We just have these big beaters who are punching them in the face. Somehow, another quick victory for the Dark Galaxy. Alright, so we're back with the deck, and oh boy am I glad I talk way too much during the card by cards. So, let's talk pros and cons. Well, first of all, the pros. This deck is so powerful. This deck is absurdly powerful. Yeah, our skill isn't as broken as Master Excel Road or the Light Galaxy Fusion skill, but oh boy, does it just let us turbo into some big dudes. Like, I mean big dudes. You saw in those games that sometimes we didn't even really need to fuse at all. The fusions were just kind of like little combo pieces that just let us get our big dudes back on board to really pop off. Being able to play around with things like destruction immunity, just completely eviscerating things like widespread room from the game, making ourselves immune to our own Dark Hole Device to just pop the entire board. Not even free. It's not even free. It's popping it for benefit. We plus off of wiping the board. Isn't that insane? Can you imagine if there was a a regular Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG deck that plussed by board wiping, that'd be insane. That'd be broken. It would be better than Tenpai going second, wouldn't it? This deck also has surprisingly big access to combo tools. Like, yeah, Theogonia is a really aggressive card that just sets you up to punch the opponent a whole bunch, but being able to summon any level 8 dude really makes it also just a combo piece if you want to go for like a Requiem play. Also, having access to cards like Protostar is insane. It's another card that pluses you, sets you up for more plays, or is just really aggressive. And we're finally able to flex a card like Void Quarter for the power that it is with this deck. Previously, people would play it at like 1 or 0 in Dark Galaxy just because occasionally you would draw it, and then also sometimes you accidentally milled a card you'd rather summon. Now, this card is so obscenely powerful that we have to just pray we see it just to keep popping off with our combos. Also, cards like Meteor Larva are very funny. It's so funny that we're just playing a card that just mills. That's it. It just mills. Does it add? No. It just mills. And it's good. It's crazy. It's super important to have Larva. It's super important to find him. Also, cutting back on things like trap cards and almost always hitting with Cataphracts is really, really good for this deck. Now, the cons. If we don't see Dark Prophet, we die. Just throwing that out there. If we don't see Dark Prophet, we probably die. We most likely will not be able to assemble an OTK board without him. He's so important, being a part of 3 of our 4 fusions. And if we lose our fusions and just never see Prophet, we lose. We're just so weak to cards like Negate Attack. We're weak to cards like Compulse, that not having access to playmakers like Prophet is really bad for us. Also, you saw in those games, we opened way too many spell cards to survive. I don't want to say got lucky, because the opponents did play the game. They did play well in some cases, and in some cases they had no choice to make the plays they did, but we got out like bandits sometimes. I played this deck in the most recent WCQ, or about half of it, for the like higher ranks, and honestly, it had a crazy win streak. But when we lost. We would find Cataphracts, we would find too many Chrysors to do anything with, just find Globule and no other plays. We'd go Larva would mill nothing, and then we'd have either an offline corridor or corridors having good to add, and then we would get punched over a Larva, we'd get pierced over a Globule for a whole bunch of damage, and then just die. Another big problem is we are also slightly weak to XQD writing. XQD writing is a really powerful card against us, being able to lower down our big beaters, and occasionally we end up with the only play being like Apocalypse wipe the board, battle, pass. So in a state like that, where then the Apocalypse gets hit by writing, we're very prone to just die. At first, when I was testing this deck, I was trying to play trap cards because I really wanted it to, have some survivability. But in the end, I decided on going for this bigger aggro build that really ended up working out much better. But at the same time, its weaknesses are glaring. I think it is firmly the 3rd in the big 3 of decks we have in this current format. But I think there is a spot for this deck. Like I mentioned before, I played this for the WCQ. I think this deck was probably one of the best out of the big 3. I think if you were just looking to play your games fast and just either win fast or lose fast, this is the perfect deck for you. You could see how quick some of those OTKs work. This deck really excels at doing things like that. And if the OTK gets stopped, oh, we lost. Okay, let's go next game. And we just keep going, jamming games and jamming games. But with all that said, we're going to wrap up the video here. So if there's a deck you would like to see featured in this series, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. There isn't a lot of new decks out there right now, so I don't even know if I'm going to be making a Rush Rundown next week. But if there's a deck you know of that I haven't featured on this series yet, or maybe you want to see a Rush rematch where I take a look at a deck I've previously featured, leave that in the comments too. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that other good stuff. Goodbye.